Good morning, I'm Juanita and welcome back to the Knit Guru. We are currently inside my incomplete house because it's too windy to film outside. Today we have a requested item from my shorts, is the tutorial to make these baby booties. I call these my springtime baby booties because they've got this lacy section at the top which reminds me of daffodils. I think they look really cute in yellow. We're going to see the demonstration for this pattern using a different stitch and yarn combination than I'm going to suggest to you here. These ones here, these are made with a 2.5mm knitting needle and 4-ply baby yarn. So these come out very much as a newborn size. The pattern that we're going to be working for the tutorial, exactly the same pattern, only the difference is that I'm using a 3mm needle and a DK weight yarn. If you can size up your needle to a 3.5 or a 4, that's with a DK weight baby yarn, you're going to increase the size of your bootie significantly. But I do think they look cutest when they're in the 2.5, 3mm range on a baby yarn. So stick around, watch your tutorial, and you can make these booties for free. All right, now to make these springtime booties, we're just going to ignore the fact that I cannot find the same yarn as the pair that was being... I made a pair of yellow ones recently and I posted an update on shorts and people kept asking me for the pattern. So this is me doing the pattern, but I can't find the exact same yellow or the needles, which means they're probably sitting in my car somewhere. So anyway, these are a really easy pair of booties. They're not my simplest booties. There's a pair on my pattern on my page called Simple Baby Booties. These are very similar, but the reason why I'm using these particular needle and yarn combination is that I keep using metal needles when filming tutorials and the sound is annoying to me because I'm still recovering from a concussion. Anyway, we're starting by casting on 35 stitches. I will link the full written pattern down below. I do think that these look best in springtime colours. So yellows, pale green, mauve, baby pink, baby blue. I tend to make them mostly in yellows. This, however, is a yellow citrus colour. It's a beautiful baby yarn, but it's just it's not as bright or as fun as I would like it to be, but that's okay. Not everything has to be fun and exciting. So 35 stitches. I have not counted these because I've been too busy having a chat. These needles are the Prim circular ergonomic needles, and I found they've been fantastic while I've got my head injury. If it's any consolation, I have 100% done too much while trying to recover, and I'm paying the price significantly, but that's okay. We're taking it easy now. She says filming a video, but I'm filming a video, I'm not writing a pattern, so it's editing the videos that is the struggle. So we've got 10, 15, 20, 25, 22. So I'm just going to keep going to 35. Should I edit this down? Yes. Should I do this in double time speed? Yes. Am I going to? No. Have I been counting the stitches since counting to 22? No. Do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, we're going for 35 stitches. These do knit up relatively quickly. I'm not sure that I will put the video completely unedited because my knitting is so much slower when I'm talking. Not to mention my counting is still off. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 2 extras. Let's get rid of those. Right. Okay, we've got our 35 stitches. What we're going to do on our first row is we are just going to knit across the whole row. Now, do I want to just keep... If you can hear the dog snoring, I'm so sorry. He was having a nice nap outside, And then he came in and he was laying down on his bed, and now he's decided that he wants to sit next to me. This is not the best setup for filming, I am well aware. I'm still trying to figure out how to do top-down tutorial videos in a way that has decent lighting. I know it's going to be way easier when we finish the house. I'm still really hoping that the house gets finished for Christmas. We're waiting on doors. So we're at a hold-up. The supplier sent all the sliding doors but didn't send all of the internal doors, which is just ridiculously frustrating. We've got a plasterer ready to go. I say we as though I'm doing more than snacks. I will be doing some more painting when we get up to the painting. We're just not up to the painting yet. The electrician, I think, came back the other day and set up a few things. And then the plumber is coming shortly to hook up the pump. And then once that happens, we should be able to get water up there, which is cool. Anyway, we've knit our first row. Row 2 is where we're starting to do some increasing. So we do all of our increasing on the wrong side rows. So we're going to start with a knit 1. Then we are going to knit 1 into the front and back of the stitch. Now by knitting into the front and the back of the stitch, what we're getting is an increase. So we've increased 1 there. We're going to increase 4 over the whole row. We're now going to knit 14. You can see why this is a nice 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's an easy pattern because we're mostly doing knit stitches. Right, we're now going to knit into the front and the back of the stitch. Then we're going to knit 1. We're going to knit into the front and the back of the next stitch. Then we're going to knit 14, which will take us to the second to last stitch on the row. When we get to the second to last stitch on the row, we are going to knit into the front and back of that stitch. Into the front and the back of that stitch, and then knit 1. So we've increased up to 39 stitches in our first row. Row 3, just a straight knit. Now there are 3, making a pile of yarn bath. There are 3 increase rows in total, and then everything gets smaller from there on out. All right, so row 3, we are just knitting all the way across. Now these are knit flat and they're seamed up the back. They are such a good seller at markets because you can make them relatively quickly. You can have quite a high markup because the cost of your materials are so low. One ball of baby yarn will make several pairs of booties. And then the bits that are left over I use as like stripes on other ones. And so a ball of baby yarn, even a really good one like a baby merino sourced locally, is still going to be under $10 New Zealand. So markup wise, fantastic. I can knit the baby booties while I'm either at a farmer's market or I can knit them when I'm in the car. I can often knit up a pair mindlessly while watching television. So they are a good market make and they do sell really well, because there's one thing I found that people will splurge a little bit on, and that's handmade products for babies that aren't born yet. You can make these for babies that certainly are born because it doesn't take long to make them. So often you get people with colour schemes for their children, and you can find out the colour scheme, the gender, all the rest of it, and then make the booties really quickly if you wanted to do that. Or you can make them in a neutral shade for a baby shower. Right, we are on row 4. This is an increase row. You're going to notice it's really similar to row 2. We're going to knit 1. We're knitting into the front and back of the next stitch. She says dropping it. Fix that up. Now I think what I'm currently using is Broadway Baby Merino, but I've long got rid of the tag. Right, we are now we're not purling. I don't know what I'm thinking I'm doing. We're knitting 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right, 16. Now we're going to knit front and back of this next stitch. We're going to knit what is still our centre stitch. We're going to knit front and back of the next stitch. We're going to knit to the last 2 stitches of our row. This is much easier. I don't have to count this because all I have to do is see that I've got 2 stitches remaining. All the chickens appear to be laying an egg right now. I mean, cute. We like the chickens. The chickens are a vibe. Currently, I've got so many videos that need editing, but I have limited screen time. So we're knitting front and back of our second to last stitch, and we're knitting our last stitch. Row 5 is just knitting all the way across. So we've gone from 35 to 39 to now 43 stitches, if I'm correct, because we're increasing 4 stitches each row. We've got one more increase row after this. So how are you all doing? Having a great day? Have you got any babies in your life that you're knitting for? I had a nephew born last year, and his baby theme has been penguins. What is hilarious is that his father keeps saying, why does everybody keep giving him penguins? And it's like, no, you chose a nursery theme of penguins. You have declared that penguins are the thing. So he has now got a jumper that has baby penguins all over it. I think I'm going to have the pattern up on this channel at some point. Might have been in my Everything I Knit and Crochet in the month of October video, but it also might not have been. Okay, we are at the end of our increase row. No, we're at the end of our knit row, sorry. Last increase row, row 6. So we're going to knit 1. We're going to knit into the front and back of the next stitch. We are going to be knitting 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and now we're going to knit front and back into this next stitch. We're going to knit 1, we're going to ignore the cat, we're going to knit into the front and back of the next stitch. I don't even think any of the videos that I've filmed recently, we're knitting to the last 2 now, where the cat has absolutely photobombed my overhead tutorials. She's jumped up next to the dog. Here she comes. Yep, there we go. That shadow is the cat. Don't worry, I'm getting a look of judgment. Yes. Oh, you want some more attention, do you? Can you not see that I'm busy? I do not want to stab you with a knitting needle. Yes. So patting the cat is absolutely optional to your own tutorial. Clearly not optional to mine. Right, now we're going to knit at front and back of our second to last stitch, and we're going to knit the last one. So that has our full increases. We should be up to about 47 stitches. Yeah. So the next 10 rows are just knit rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video, knit the 10 rows, pat the cat, and then when we come back, there will essentially be the ability to see this knitting rather than the top of the cat's head. Right, 10 rows of just plain knit stitch, and we'll start to see the shape of the booty forming. Alright, so we've got our 10 rows knit here, and while I know that this is a curvy needle, so it puts a curve in it anyway, you can see these stitches down the middle and around the sides are helping to shape the bottom of our foot, so we end up with this sort of gentle curve on either side. It's a little, what's the nice way of saying it? It's definitely more even when you use the correct needle to yarn size ratio. You live and learn, Juanita, you live and learn. Right, okay, we're going to shape the top of the toe, and it's done in a series of short rows. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to get across to the middle of our row. So we're going to knit 19. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we've knit 19. So now what we're going to do is we're going to knit the next two together. So we're knitting 2 together. And then we're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to knit 2 together again. And we're going to slip 1 purlwise. We're now going to turn our work, and you'll see we've got an extra stitch here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to purl 2 together. So that's the last stitch that we just had plus that purl stitch. Then we're going to purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are now going to purl 2 together, but we're going to attempt to purl 2 together through the back loops. This is optional, you can just purl 2 together. But by purling 2 together through the back loops, it just gives us a slightly different shape on the top. Then we're going to slip 1 and turn. So we've got 2 stitches on this side here. We are now going to knit 2 together. And we'll see we're starting to carry this line up there. We're knitting 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to knit 2 together, and we're going to slip 1 purlwise. So we're starting to see the rows shaping. We're going to purl 2 together, purl 5, I'm not going to worry about going through the back loops. Purl 2 together, slip 1. So that's 4 rows of shaping our toes. We're now going to knit 2 together. Knit 5. We're going to knit 2 together, and we're going to slip 1 purlwise. We're going to turn. We're going to purl 2 together, purl 5, we're going to purl 2 together, and we're just going to slip 1. We're not adding it. Now we're going to knit 2 together. We're going to knit 5. We're going to knit 2 together, slip 1 purlwise, turn, purl 2 together, purl 5, purl 2 together, slip 1. Right, okay. This is now going to be our row that we're going to finish off to the end of the row. So we're now going to knit 2 together, knit 5, we're going to knit 2 together, and now we're going to knit to the end of the row. All right, so as you can see, we've got a toe sticking out the top of our booty, and we're going to now put in a row of holes. So our row of holes, we're just going to do this by, we're going to start by purling 1. Now we're going to yarn over, purl 2 together, 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 yarn over, purl 2 together. Now this, we're just repeating it all the way across the row. Now you're going to use all of these yarn overs and treat them as though they're an individual stitch. All these yarn overs are doing is creating a gap in our work that we're going to be able to use to thread a tie through at the end. So we're not increasing or decreasing any stitches over the course of the whole row. We're just putting in a row of holes, and we just have to remember to knit all these yarn overs individually. And then we're going to finish with a yarn over and a purl 2 together. Right, and that gives us our row of holes. So what we're now going to do is we are really close to being up to our pattern row. So what we're going to do first of all to get to our pattern row is we're going to do a row of knit and a row of purl, just so that we're not trying to do a pattern on top of our yarn overs. We're just going to make that row of holes really obvious. You can definitely hear Rocky snoring. I'm not sure whether or not it's the melodic sound of my voice that's putting him to sleep, or that he had a big breakfast and he's done for the day. Such a guard dog, such a watchdog, such a working boy. I think he's just happy that he's got company, because otherwise he'd be outside sleeping in his kennel. At least this way he's hanging out with friends. Again, we've had another lighting shift. I'm so sorry. I've got to figure out, I've got a ring light, but I haven't set it up. And in not setting it up, it just feels like it's one more thing for me to trip over. And I thought, oh, it's going to be lovely natural lighting today. And then I've sat in front of the natural lighting, and if I turn the overhead lighting on, I'm getting the tripod in view. It's terrible all round. Just terrible. Right, okay. When we get to the end of this row, we are going to begin our lace pattern top. Now, you will notice that this is really similar to the simple baby booties up till this point, because you can just continue, rather than doing this row of purl, you could just continue doing rows of knit stitches up the leg and create a fold over cuff, which is what the simple baby booties have. But this one has got a really simple lace work pattern that's going to work up really quickly, and it's only 8 rows of lace work. So we're going to start. We're going to knit 1. We're going to knit 2 together. We're going to yarn over. We're going to knit 2. Now we're just repeating that. So we're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. 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 Now our wrong sides of our baby booty here are always going to be purled on the 4 rows of this pattern, because it's a 4-row repeating pattern. Each of the wrong sides is just straight purl, which makes it really simple. It's at this point in filming a tutorial that my brain says, actually, you know what is difficult? Talking. Talking and doing something. It's like I'm going to need to, I'd say sit down, but I am sitting down. I need to have a lie down after doing this. I thought I was being so smart. I'll just film a tutorial. That's something I can do without looking at a screen. I have so many tutorials that need editing. So many. It's quite ridiculous. So many videos. Right, okay. Our next row of the pattern is kind of the same but kind of the different. So we're just going to knit the first stitch, and then we're going to go into the 4 stitches of the pattern for this one. Now we're going to knit 2. We're yarning over, and we're doing a slip slip knit, and that's going to put our stitches leaning in the opposite direction. So we're knitting 2, yarning over, slip slip knit. Knit 2, yarn over, slip slip knit. Knit 2, yarn over, slip slip knit. Knit 2, yarn over, slip slip knit. Up, knit. Knit 2, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit 2, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Right, so I'm going to pause you at this point because I'm going to do the next bit off camera, but what you're going to start seeing is that we've got these alternating left and right leaning stitches with some holes in the middle. What you're now going to do is purl, then repeat those 4 rows of the pattern, and I will rejoin you when it comes to the last row of this pattern and our cast off edge. Alright, so here we are. We've got our lace pattern on the top here, and you'll see you've got almost like vines stretching out in either direction. Now our cast off edge is basically a picot cast off, only I don't know if it truly is a picot cast off. It just creates a slight flutter. That's anyway, I'll show you how I do it. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to knit into the front and back of each and every stitch while doing our standard cast off. So it gets a little bit finicky when it comes to the first bar of a stitch. So we're going to knit into this first bar, but we're not taking it off the side. We're just casting off the previous stitch before we knit this. You get into a bit of a rhythm with it, which is nice. We like getting into a rhythm with it. It does definitely take longer than your standard bind off, but again, we're not using too many stitches, so it looks really cool for not a huge amount of extra effort, and it just creates just this extra little bit of a wobble. And the fluted edge just reminds me of the top of a daffodil. This is very similar to how I do the tops of my daffodil cones when I'm doing knit daffodils. Have I actually done a knitted daffodil tutorial on my channel? I don't think I have. I think it's one of those ones that I make in spring, but because the vast majority of my viewers are not in spring when I'm in spring, I've not got around to actually posting a daffodil at all. I've made a lot of daffodils over the years, actually. Yeah, so, okay, right. Are we going to do this whole row? Maybe we are. We shall see. Should we call this a fluted bind off? The flutter bind off? It's probably got a real name. If you know what the real name of this bind off is, do write it in the comments down below. I know that it's not the picot bind off, because the picot bind off I feel like has, you're casting on stitches and then you're casting them off, and I've done that before, but I didn't like it on this bootie because I felt like the points were a little too picot-y. I have used it on a shawl before, and it was a really cool shaped shawl, only yeah, it was such a life commitment doing the cast off edge. It's like the I've got a big blanket project. It's the big blanket from the Woven, and I think it was their 2021 big blanket community project one, where each month you got the yarn and the next set of the pattern. But I'm up to the part where you stitch all the squares together and you do an I-cord bind off around the whole thing, and the whole thing is close to a single bed size. Yeah, I can literally hear you with me. So I've got to work out now whether or not I'm going to commit to doing an I-cord edging around the whole thing, which will be a lot, and it will look cool. Only will my wrists hold up because I'll have the whole blanket on my lap, and it's coming up to summer soon. So basically the big blanket from 2021 is sitting, all the parts are ready to go, even the parts where I'd had surgery, so I didn't understand the instructions particularly well, so there's a few sections of mistakes, and I'm leaving them in because the mistakes are part of the journey. But maybe I need to wait until it's winter, it's pouring with rain, I'm sitting on a couch, and I want to be under a blanket, and then I can sit there and do the I-cord bind off. Or not bind off, the I-cord edging around the whole thing. We shall see. In the meantime, it sits and it waits, and it's beautiful. But here we go. So we're up to our last stitch here. So let's cast you off. And then we're going to knit that other side, and we're going to cast that off, and we're going to grab our scissors and to trim off the edge. It's at this point that I think I was concentrating on doing that bind off so much that I cannot guarantee you it's in frame. I hope it's in frame. Oh, because I don't want to do it again. Not for a while. Okay, so here's our fluttery bind off, and when we fold our bootie around, what you'll see is it just creates a slightly more fluted edge on the top of our bootie. We've got this row of holes around here that we can create either a crochet chain or a ribbon going through, and I just think it's a really simple, easy to make, effective bootie. It's very pretty, very spring in my mind. Yeah, and that's my tutorial for this. Right, if you enjoyed making these booties and you want to make even more of them, there are other videos that you can watch. I've got this video up here, which is an easier version of these booties, which doesn't have the lace. It's just got some straight garter stitch, which is a great introductory project. If you want to stick around and see some other baby knits and items such as that, I'm going to bung them down here in the bottom. And if you would like to stick around and subscribe and see what else you can make on this channel, click the subscribe button and I will see you next week. Bye.